Lord of the Mysteries. Chapter 1273. The Poor Arrodes. Klein didn't visit Benson and Melissa because the matters he was involved in were at too high a level. Approaching his siblings would only bring them disaster. For existences who didn't know Klein's original identity, such acts would help them understand the relationship between Benson, Melissa, and Klein. To know of Klein's past experiences, this would make them confirm one thing: Klein still maintained his humanity and was still very concerned about his family. Therefore, staying away from Benson and Melissa was the best form of protection he could give them. Of course, Klein had already grasped the situation of his siblings through Miss Justice. During the war, Benson had displayed his experience and ability at the Ministry of Finance. He received many promotions and had become the deputy director of the 5th Department, and his annual salary reached £300. Melissa won the favor of her mentor, Portland Moment, and was given a chance to become a Beyonder. The Chancellor of the Backland University of Technology was a believer of the god of steam and machinery, so he had long become a Beyonder. He was currently a Sequence 7 appraiser. He wished for Melissa to become a Sequence 9 savant so that she could better absorb the knowledge and improve her memory. This established a good foundation for her in her subsequent development in the mechanical domain. This was Melissa's secret, but she wasn't able to hide from a spectator at the demigod level. Besides, Audrey definitely informed Klein that Melissa was more inclined to agree, and would be making a decision in the next few days. Klein's attitude towards this matter was a tacit acquiesce. On the one hand, the spiritual perception enhancement one gained from the savant pathway's advancement was rather limited. Melissa wouldn't really hear or see what she shouldn't. On the other hand, with the impending apocalypse, the madness caused by the low sequence potions would further decrease. Furthermore, there was also him, a miracle invoker, to help lower the risk of her losing control. For an avid fan of machinery, a Sequence 9 savant is enough. Moment shares the same attitude. He doesn't wish for a believer of the Evernight to obtain too many potions from the Church of Steam. Yes, the apocalypse is approaching, and the invisible barrier is weakening. The intrusion of this world by the outer deities will become more and more obvious. The chances of ordinary people encountering Beyonder incidents will definitely gradually increase. From this point of view, it's also a good thing for Melissa to become a Beyonder. If she can successfully advance to Sequence 6 artisan, or a machinery specialist, then she can fulfill her dreams and protect herself and Benson. I'll get Miss Justice to find an opportunity to disclose the acting method to Melissa in a discreet manner. The extent of her future growth will depend on her. At most, I can give her some good luck, formulas and ingredients. I'm really like an older brother who can't rest easily. I've been like this since the beginning. Does this count as granting a wish, in a certain sense? Wait, Melissa definitely wishes for Klein to come back to life. If I were to walk right in front of her, would I receive enough feedback? Forget it. This will bring her and Benson a devastating disaster. Klein shook his head and stopped himself from making excuses. He then pressed down on his top hat and turned towards a hotel by the streets. He took out a gold pound and got a room. The gold pound was real. It was an item that Klein had brought back to the real world some time ago. In the previous war, Klein had donated £14,800 in cash, £14,200 worth of gold bars, and nearly 20 high-quality gems through Miss Justice. Apart from all the strange items left on the junk pile, he only had 39 lone gold coins and 10 high-quality gems left. Glancing at the hotel owner's returning change in solely in pennies, Klein put them away and entered the room before walking to the full-length mirror. Right on the heels of that, he took out a pen and paper and drew the incantation that summoned Arrodes. Seconds and minutes passed, but nothing abnormal happened. The full-body mirror remained silent. A few seconds later, Klein chuckled and raised his eyebrows. He took out a gold coin from his pocket. Chug! 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 A steam locomotive that was spewing thick smoke tore across the rail, heading west of the continent. The disheveled cancer and a machinery hive mind member stood in a particular carriage as they focused on the metal cage in front of them. The metal spikes above the cage extended outwards in all kinds of menacing ways, coruscating with the dim light. The machinery hive mind member, who had the looks of a typical Loanese citizen, looked out the window at the planes rapidly sweeping past them. He couldn't help but ask, "Deacon, are you planning on returning to Lone after reaching Intis?" After the war ended, the Church of Steam, who had taken the wrong side, had no choice but to bear the consequences of its actions. It had to transfer all Beyonders above that of demigods, and sealed artifacts above Grade 2 out of Lone within a time period set by the two churches of Evernight and Storm. In other words, they had lost their original status. In the future, they could only maintain a small number of cathedrals, just like the Church of Earth Mother in Lone. If it weren't for the fact that there were too many people who believed in the god of steam and machinery, and some of them being key figures in the reconstruction efforts after the war, the Church of Steam might not have been able to retain such treatment. Similarly, a smaller number of cathedrals only required a small number of machinery hive mind members. Most of the Beyonders in Lone had to migrate to Intis. A cancer fell silent for a few seconds before smiling bitterly. "I have to heed the Archbishop's arrangements, but I will take the initiative to request a return to Lone. That's where my childhood, teenage, and young adult life was. There are too many memories that I can't forget." As he spoke, his gaze grew distant, and he seemed to see the capital of capitals. At this moment, the metal cage that was overgrown with spikes suddenly trembled. Silver bolts of lightning appeared out of nowhere and landed one after another. They were all absorbed by the metal cage, and through a few wires wrapped in rubber, the current flowed to the ground outside the steam locomotive, dragging out a line of sparks. Bang! 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 The metal cage seemed to be hit by an invisible hand, but it was unable to break the barrier. "The magic mirror's reaction is very intense. It's always been very quiet in the past." The machinery hive mind member who had been asking was rather puzzled. Amidst the banging, a cancer subconsciously touched his hair. "That's not the case. It will sometimes show its crazy side. If it wasn't for what had happened, we would have still treated it as a Grade 2 sealed artifact." "Is that so?" "Heh, I haven't come into contact with it before, so it might just be me, but it feels to me that the magic mirror doesn't want to leave Backland." The machinery hive mind member teased with a smile. "Pa!" Lightning struck and was absorbed by the metal cage. Bang! 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 The slamming sounds dragged on slowly, as though it was making its last helpless cry. A cancer took out an old and exquisite pocket watch and opened it. "It only lasted 2 minutes. It's much better than in the morning." Just as the member of the machinery hive mind, who had just been transferred over, was about to ask, he suddenly heard the slamming sound stop abruptly. It was as though it had been affected by some factor that it couldn't put up resistance to. "This is the style of the magic mirror?" he asked. A cancer frowned slightly and said, "No. Normally speaking, it wouldn't have the strength to last 20 to 30 seconds. Something's wrong, Deacon, don't worry. There is a powerful figure on board the train, one who outranks the archbishops." The machinery hive mind member beside him consoled him indifferently. There were too many dangerous sealed artifacts on the steam locomotive. Without a powerful figure watching them, there would definitely be problems. A cancer nodded, indicating that he wasn't worried. Klein was sitting in a conjured carriage in a hamlet's path more than 10 kilometers away from the steam locomotive. In front of him was a mirror. Just as he finished outlining the symbol that was a mixture of concealment and mystery prying, a wave of light suffused the mirror as golden Loanese text appeared. "Exalted Great Master, you're finally here. Your puny, loyal, and poor servant, Arrodes, misses you." Klein couldn't accept the enthusiasm behind this line as he shrank back indiscernibly. If Arrodes's previous attempts to curry favor still maintained a hint of dignity, it was now complete fawning over him. Klein could even detect a hint of crying. "The frequency of amorous news popping up in Trier is far higher than in Backland. It should be a place that you're fond of." Klein teased Arrodes with a smile. "That's because you don't wish to go to Trier." The golden words on the surface of the mirror faded their colors, turning a faint silver. Klein secretly clicked his tongue. I have something to ask you. Please ask, Arrodes replied humbly. Do you know who Earth Mother is? Klein went straight to the point. The mirror instantly turned dark as the faint silver words turned palish white. I don't know. But during the War of Gods, I heard a voice coming from deep within tenebrous heaven. He shouted a name. That's the true name of the sanguine ancestor. This magic mirror didn't dare to directly present Lilith's name. Lilith? It's actually Lilith. Klein was surprised, but he also felt that this answered many of his questions. Then, he thought of the moon Emlyn. This vampire kept going in circles, imagining all kinds of developments, only to have never changed his faith. If Emlyn had Anderson's personality, he would definitely say to the Sanguine's Grand Duke and Marquises, Hey, are you also coming to believe in the Mother Goddess? As Klein imagined the funny scene, he said to Arrodes, It's your turn to ask. Supreme Master, please continue asking. I'll ask it all at once towards the end. The palish white words regained their faint silver luster. Klein thought for a moment before saying, How's the situation like now? For example, the situation in Fay-Sac.